Welcome again to my fortnightly training sessions. So these are quick half-hour training sessions to help you understand how to grow value in your business. And today's session is all about recurring revenue and how it impacts business value and how it can actually grow your business value quicker than non-recurring revenue. So welcome everyone again. I know everyone's very busy, so I always like to welcome everyone and thank you for taking the time out of your businesses. For those that have just joined, if you can just open up your chat window and just say hi, just let us know a bit about yourself, that would be great. Just very quick intro for those that don't know me. I think everyone here does know me, but I'm a business coach. Obviously been running my own business for over 17 years. I'm an accountant by training, so the numbers are very important to me. Really help people to grow businesses that are less dependent on them, more profitable and ultimately more valuable because of that as well. As a lot of you know, I recently expanded from my traditional business coaching services into more exit planning, and I've joined a national group that helps businesses to sell. Okay, so we help prepare the business for sale and then market the business as well. All right, so a quick overview of the presentation. Today, it's all about recurring revenue. I'll explain what it is and give you some examples. And I'll explain that not all recurring revenue is treated equal either. Just want to do a recap of the drivers of business value again and where this fits in and how recurring revenue affects the value of a business. And then I really want to open it up to all of you and maybe discuss some ideas of how we can create more recurring revenue and therefore more value in your businesses as well. Okay. Just a very quick intro again about where this topic fits into my overall business building model. Now, I'm not going to go through my business building model again, but really it fits in this area here around strategy. So strategy is about understanding your business model, your financial model, what creates profitability in the business, what drives value. So that's where this fits today, okay? All right, so recurring revenue, what is it? Okay, so it's pretty straightforward. I think most people know recurring revenue is somewhat related to repeat customers, but not always, and I'll explain what I mean by that. Recurring revenue is basically when you sell a service or a product once and you get paid over and over and over, okay? And I've got some examples here to try to explain where traditional revenue might fit and where moving a business towards a more recurring revenue model, how that works, and some examples. Okay, so the first example is managed IT services. So most of you use an IT provider, and for smaller businesses, you generally will use an IT provider that is that works on a break-fix model. Okay, that's what I mean. That's what I've got here. So when something happens, something breaks, you ring them up and they fix it for you. All right. So they may quote you, they may not, but they basically will provide a service when it's needed. Whereas a lot of the more progressive IT companies are moving towards this managed IT services model, where instead of doing work when the business rings up and asks for work to be done, they actually have a subscription style model. So they charge the business a fixed monthly fee based on the number of people in the business, the pieces of equipment, and so on. Another example is real estate agents. So we all look at real estate agents predominantly in this area of property sales. So they obviously list businesses and sell properties. But the real value within a real estate agent is the rent roll part of it. Okay, so that's where they are managing people's properties that are being rented out, that are being leased out. Okay, so if you speak to any real estate agents, and I actually have a client that is a business broker that focuses just on real estate rent rolls, he'll tell you that it's very, very rare to be able to have a business, a real estate business where there's value in the property sales side of things. It's all really in this rent roll. And that's because they bring a customer on and then that customer stays this is the landlord who's renting their property. That landlord stays with that business for years and years and years as different leases and lessees go through that business. So they bring that customer on once and they get paid over and over every month. Another example is an accountant versus a consultant. So an accountant has ongoing clients that they service. It could be quarterly, it could be annually, but they are repeat businesses. Once they come on board, they just keep billing them every quarter, every year. Whereas a consultant more so will have to win a client every time, do a project, finish the project, and then go on to the next client. Now I've got a client who they provide raw dog food on a subscription model. So they've got clients all over New South Wales. They're based here in Sydney, and once a customer comes on board, depending on the size of the dog and the type of plan they're on, they will just send them fortnightly meal packets, and they just get paid monthly for that. Okay, obviously compared to a traditional pet food where you've got to hope that the customer comes in, and you may have recurring customers, repeat business. And this is a good example of why there's a difference between a repeat customer, such as in this traditional pet food store, where you may have a database of customers that come to you regularly and you might market to them and encourage them to come back, compared to the next level of repeat customer, which is this subscription model. Okay, so this is very similar to this IT managed services model, the rent roll model, and so on. Okay, so it's just an example of different types of recurring revenue. So you could have a repeat customer, and that's definitely better than not having. That's definitely better than having to find a new customer all the time. But the next level of recurring income is really the subscription type model. Okay. Another example is a maintenance plumber. So I've got a client who is a plumbing business. Actually, I've got to do a separate story on that one. Actually, it's a lawyer who bought a plumbing business. And the reason he bought it is because there's a lot of recurring revenue because it's a maintenance plumbing business. So they service strata managers who have lots of residential and commercial properties. And so they don't need to go and find new customers all of the time. These strata managers, they may ask them to do quotes, but more often it's just go and fix it because they know what their rates are already. Okay, compared to a project plumber who may have to tender or quote for work over and over and over again. Okay, now I've got a caveat here because you can convert this project plumbing business into something that is more recurring revenue based by maybe dealing with large commercial builders that have ongoing work and they know your rates, so you don't need to quote for it all the time. They just keep bringing you back in for the next house that they're building, okay. And lastly, my own second business, which is all business sales. So I'm currently building this business, and we've already had some good wins helping clients sell their businesses. But if I market my business just to direct clients, like going out there searching for new clients all the time, it's a lot of hard work compared to what I'm currently doing, and that is building a referral base with accountants, with solicitors, with other real estate agents who always come across new leads and new people that they've already pre-qualified that need help selling their business. Now, I would still need to do a quote for these, but it's a much easier process building up this type of referral base and database that will then add value to my business. Okay, so I'd just like to open that up for questions or comments at this stage before I go on and explain how this then relates to business value and the formula for creating business value. So any comments so far? I'm just monitoring my chat window. Does it all, even if it just all makes sense, just say, yep, all makes sense. And also let me know whether in your business you feel, from a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being the most ideal type of recurring revenue compared to 1 being the least, repeat business or recurring revenue. What do you rate your business out of 5? So at the moment. Okay, I know a few of you are building different streams of income in your businesses, but I'd just be curious, 1 to 5, 5 being the most ideal type of recurring revenue, 1 being the least recurring revenue. Where do you rate your business right now? So just put a number 1 to 5, that'd be great. And I'll keep going. Brett's a 2. So Brett runs a manufacturing business. You do get a lot of repeat. You do have regular customers that you quote for and do work for, but you're right, you have to quote every time. So it's still a very competitive environment. Mark's a 4, which is great. Harry's a 1, Karen 3 to 4. Very good. All right, good. Lorenzo saying currently a 1, but about to have some. So this is very good timing for me. Lorenzo, do you want to just quickly unmute yourself and just share what you mean by that?
Yeah, so one of the new revenue streams we're looking at is the EV charging network that we're sort of incorporating. So actually, I say currently 1, but I've got a few national clients that I get recurring business from, but still they're one-off lighting upgrades, you know, like for super cheap, a Mitre 10, they sort of, as they need them, we do them, you know, it's repeat work, but it's not recurring revenue. So I can't rely on it.
Yeah.
But the EV chargers, we're looking at a model where we're actually going to install the units at near cost, but have some recurring revenue through both the charging, like the cost that the end users pay, and also a software charge. So that's exciting. So this is really, really good timing, Anil. I love it.
Yeah, good. Excellent. Thanks, Lorenzo. Just on that, I know I've got an IT client here that a few of you know, and they obviously have most of their income is from managed services, and then from that comes other project work. So so they've got a bit of a blend, but they also have phone systems that they're installing where they get a cut of the revenue from all of the phone calls that happen as well. So there's a whole range of things we can do to build more recurring revenue in our businesses. Now, some businesses are obviously a lot easier to do that than others, but it's a good thing to start thinking about. All right, and as I said, not all recurring revenue is equal. This subscription type of revenue is much better than even this maintenance revenue, because subscription revenue, whether it's this sort of dog food subscription or a managed IT service, where you get paid automatically every month once you've made that initial sale, compared to even maintenance plumbing. Sure, you've got regular customers, repeat customers, but you may need to still quote for some of that work as well. All right, so just to recap on the value equation and how this fits in. So business value is predominantly calculated by taking your profit and multiplying it by a multiple, a factor. And I'll explain that in a minute. So for example, if your business makes $200,000 profit and this multiple, which I'll explain, is 2.5 times, then and we have to adjust for that profit. So you don't just take your normal profit, but just in principle, it's profitability times a multiple. And in this example, this business would be valued at $500,000. And so this multiple depends on a range of factors. So, and it all relates to risk. Now, if you can de-risk your business and guarantee the profit over time, like into the future, then that multiple grows. And ways to de-risk your profit is by having better systems in the business. So when someone comes in, they know they can just take over the business and the systems are there, so you can just they can just follow the systems and keep running the business like you were running it. The other way is obviously having a great team. So you need both, really, a team and systems. And if you've got a great team, if you've got a management team in place, so that lawyer that I gave an example about who bought the plumbing business, he obviously knows nothing about plumbing, but it's a business with about 15 staff, has 3 people in the office, has 12 experienced plumbers. So those people have all of that knowledge. They know how to run the systems. They know how to run the business. Okay, so that's why he bought it. So team and systems. The other thing to de-risk a business, as you can appreciate, is having recurring revenue. Now, if you've got revenue where people have signed up and you're billing them automatically every month, then, or if you've built relationships and a database of regular customers that are coming back to you and providing you work automatically every month, then that revenue and that profit that's generated from that revenue is more valuable than profits from one-off sales where you've got a tender. So even if you've got great systems and team, if your revenue is based on tendering for work, quoting for work, hoping to win new work, then obviously that profit is more risky into the future. Okay. So an example here is, so this is just a quick example. You've got a business with one-off income, profits 200 grand, multiple of 2 times, $400,000 value, compared to a business that's got recurring revenue. Even though the profit may be lower, the multiple is likely to be higher because that profit is more guaranteed into the future. So you can see there in that simple example that this business with a lower profit actually has a higher value, okay, sale value. All right, does that make sense? So Harry's asking, is the multiple number of years? No, it's the multiple. So it's just a factor. It's not it doesn't have anything to do with the years. It's really how a business is valued. So a business that is less reliant on you automatically has a greater multiple. So it effectively means that it takes less time for you to get a return, to get your money back on that investment, but it's more so the risk related to that profit. Okay, so if the profit is less risky, then people will be willing to pay more for that business. Okay. And I've only gone through that very quickly because it's something that I've covered off in previous training as well. So there is another training session, the first one I ran, which explains more information, more it covers more factors relating to that multiple and what influences it. So I'm happy to share that again with you, Hari. All right, so so creating recurring revenue in your business. All right, so let's just open it up. Who already has some ideas to create more recurring revenue, or at least moving up that recurring revenue scale that I mentioned before? You know, the 1 to 5 scale. And who'd like to just ask some questions as well? So this is the part where I said I'm not going to present a lot. I'm just going to allow you to, you know, ask questions and maybe have some discussion around this this whole topic. So can I ask firstly, who here has already some ideas? I know Lorenzo's already shared his, but who else has ideas about creating more recurring revenue in their business, or at least moving towards customers or partners, referral partners, whatever it might be, that will automatically generate ongoing work without you having to do as much, put as much effort in. So I'd like to find out if anyone, so Cressida say, we have some ideas, but it seems challenging to even consider given the daily grind. Cressida, would you like to just unmute yourself? I know it can be tricky when everyone's so busy doing what you're already doing and you've already got plenty of work on. What sort of, good to see you again, Cressida.
Hi, Anil, thanks so much. Yeah, I think
just a quick background to your business again.
Sure.
For everyone.
Yep, no worries. So I'm just doing a little bit of business development support for my husband's company, which is a building consultancy firm. They provide specialist advice on kind of building to tolerances and standards. And they have, you know, really solid repeat customers. However, they so long-standing relationships, but only a kind of a few of them. So business knows that it needs to diversify its client base. My husband, Sunny, has had some great ideas about potential kind of digital products to support the work of the business, but obviously that's so outside the scope of the nuts and bolts of what they do as an organization. So they're fantastic. It's a fantastic idea, but you know, struggling to even consider it given the daily grind and considering it's so far outside the scope of what they do. For a living.
Yep, that's a fantastic example, Cressida. So Cressida's example is basically a new product that will create more of that subscription model, and you could potentially sell it to other people and so on as well. So all I would recommend, and a lot of businesses are in the same boat where we're so busy with the day-to-day, how do we allocate time to work on the business, whether it's on the business to make improvements to systems, train the team, there's all of these things that we want to do, or to develop, to do R&D and to develop new products. Now, time management's outside of the scope of this, but all I would say is that, and I've got another client that I'm just bringing on actually that I just started with last week, and we're looking at introducing a senior operations manager into their business. But at the end of the day, the numbers need to stack up, to be able to buy back your time by putting someone senior in, or by delegating more of that time, your tasks to others. It will have a short-term impact on your profitability, but it's all about having that long-term 5-year. In this example, if you're developing a new product, having that 5 to 10 year perspective about what that payback will be. Lorenzo, I know you're doing thanks, Cressida. Lorenzo, I know you're spending quite a bit of time developing your business and developing new services, and anyone else who wants to share, but it is always that challenge of allocating 20% of your time, or even 50% of your time on these new product or new markets. Anyone else want to share what they're doing and how they do that, and how they think about that and prioritize that? Just feel free to unmute yourself and share. If not, I'll share my own example or my own experience. As you know, I'm building my All Biz business, so I've had to go into my default diary, and I've mentioned that tool to a lot of people in the past. And I've allocated 3 half days in my week to the All Biz business. Now, I may not follow it 100% every week, but generally I've been doing that. And since I've done that, it's amazing how much I've been able to better structure my week to find time to devote to the All Biz business, because my business coaching business is quite busy. And I had to really do that. And I had to then even use different, my iPad during that All Biz time, so that I wasn't distracted by my emails on my computer and so on. So it's really just a decision. But it is about, delegating more and trying to free up that time, but it will cost you, there will be less billable hours in that, in the interim. All right, any other questions or examples that people would like to share about creating more recurring revenue in their business, or just ask any questions? No, I've got a couple.
Shall I share what I do in my business for recurring revenue?
Yeah, that'd be great. Thanks, Karen.
So I'm a copywriter, and when I started the business, there was a very big push about just being a website content writer. And I went, no, that's not going to work. You need recurring business. And so what I did was I actually started blog writing. And what I decided to do was actually charge a slightly lower fee than my website content writing, because I was getting that recurring business. One of the challenges with that was that it's a bigger sale to actually do a subscription thing or to go on a retainer. So to overcome that, because I'm normally working with clients that have never worked with a copywriter before, so it's all like new and scary, and the commitment to have something every month is also a big commitment for businesses. So what I did was I said, right, well, I'll fix the price for 12 months, but you don't have to worry about a lock-in contract. And that immediately kind of relieved a lot of that pressure for people. But the great thing for my business is that was kind of unexpected, is that I know exactly when my projects are going to come in. If I want to go on holidays, then we can push things either before or after I go on holiday. So we have a discussion around that. And then it also leads to other work like the one-offs, like the website content. Or it can work in the other way where website content comes and the blogs come.
Yeah, excellent. That's a great example, Karen. And I know Karen's doing work for the IT client that I mentioned earlier, and also has connected with Brad, who's also on this call. Brad is a website developer, but also does other marketing. So, and so it's good to, yeah, it's a great example from Karen, you know, and not just, as you said, having that regular revenue coming in, but then being able to manage the workload and the, you know, that those jobs around, you know, what we want to do personally as well. Yeah, great. So Danny's made a comment here. Sometimes it's not the customer, but the task. We're trying to do the easy things quickly and the more profitable things slowly. Brad also said, I already have monthly website maintenance plans. Great. Yep. So that's an example of doing website work is a one-off, but then after that, having recurring revenue and building up that recurring revenue through maintenance. And a lot of trades businesses can do this, you know, move more towards maintenance type work. Not that you're a trades business, Brad, but it's an example. And looking at other ongoing options as well. So before we move on, Danny, I'm not quite sure exactly what you mean by that. I might just come back to Danny, and then we better move on and wrap up soon. Danny, do you want to unmute yourself and just explain what you meant by that?
Yeah, we're in the process, Anil, of just looking at the product offerings for our clients, and we're finding we're spending a bit more time on the lower value tasks than we are on the more profitable things. So
yeah, okay.
We've just tried we're trying to actually shred down the offering in insurance, of course. So we organise insurance products.
Mm-hmm.
We're insurance brokers. So sometimes selling one type of product might take a little bit longer than something else, and it's less profitable.
Yep.
So we're just trying to focus on those products where we know we're going to get a return from the customer away.
Okay, good. Thanks, Danny. And that's definitely probably outside of the discussion about recurring revenue, but definitely a very key part of what I do with clients as well, is understanding which services, which products are making more money and making more profit.
Yes.
And not just in the preparation, but also the, you know, even bringing on that client, managing that client, you know, outside of the actual work. Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah.
Thanks,
But we call them comeback customers. Everyone always wants a comeback customer. That's where it's
yes.
you're getting, you know, more and more value there, and from
because once you've and everyone knows this already. It's you know, once you've built that relationship, it becomes a lot easier to then get more work out of that existing customer, whether it's recurring, you know, a subscription style, or whether it's just them coming back. But it's the ability to build a database as well. A lot of you know that if you have a database of customers, especially if they're repeat customers, then that database will definitely add value to your business as well.
Yeah,
all right,
I agree.
I'm just going to move on, and yeah, just any final questions before I wrap up. And I think we've had quite a bit of discussion anyway, so, and some good examples. So what I might just do is just wrap up, because I do want to keep these to about 30 minutes. So some actions for you to think about. Firstly, review your revenue streams and have a think about how to create recurring revenue. Also, so that's more on the product or service side of things. Secondly, review your customers and how to build more repeat customers. So you might currently have more one-off work, whereas if you can find a greater blend. So for example, I've worked with a kitchen client in the past. Every new residential customer is a new customer. I mean, sure, they get referrals from those customers, but one thing that they've done is add on to that traditional customer base by starting to provide services to, and this could be office fit out work, for example, to builders that will provide ongoing repeat business, or to home builders as well who need kitchens and need laundries done and so on. Okay, so look at different types of customers that can provide repeat business to you. And then lastly, and this probably relates to Cressida's comment, is, build this into your business growth plan. Make a conscious effort to allocate time for these things, whether it's creating new products, like in Cressida's example, or just making improvements. Stop becoming complacent about the sorts of customers you have, and maybe allocating time to find better customers, or customers that are going to provide this type of revenue, or just more profitable work in general. Okay. So next session is how to set KPIs to help you achieve your profit targets. So as you know, I'm all about the numbers and understanding what KPIs to set, relating to more about the activity that is then going to help you achieve the results, is very important. So I'm going to cover that off in the next session. All right. So otherwise, thank you all for joining us today.